Let's find the key.
Let's find a key now.
Let's find the key.
I never did find it.
You never did.
You just
That
went
was-
right in with somebody once told me the...
Just like so high. I was like, that's not sustainable.
It was amazing.
It was,
I was
yeah.
screeching.
It was great.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Haley's got her heating pad. We are
Yes.
good to go.
We're
The
back.
cramps are getting me.
What's that? Okay, so we're up on. We are on it.
1, 2. 1, 2. Okay.
Boogers.
Boogers.
Boogers. 1, 2.
Sneezing
Boogers.
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 I think that could be a little song.
Boogers?
Sneezing boogers?
Sneezing boogers?
Yes. 1, 2. 1, 2. Boogers.
I love it. Let's call it.
Sneezing boogers. Sneezing boogers.
Let's call the Wiggles right now.
Yeah.
What was that one called? You
What-
guys
what?
know?
No. What are you
no.
talking about?
Yo Yo Ma. Yo Gabba Gabba.
Oh, Yo Gabba Gabba. Oh, yeah.
Let's call it.
No. Yo
I-
Gabba
it got me
Gabba
there.
with Thundercat. Legendary.
Really?
Have you heard the Thundercat Yo Gabba Gabba song?
No.
I like to go outside. Banger.
How does it go?
Absolute
Possibly.
banger.
How does it go? I know, I'm like,
I don't
maybe I
even
do.
know the melody right now, but
Okay.
I'll play it for you later.
Alright,
It's so
yeah.
good.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Okay. We're
Okay.
back. We're back.
We're
okay.
back.
So
We're married.
we're
We're
left
back.
off with you at the temple and the secret handshakes and
Yeah.
and the garb
Yep.
and now you're married and
Mm-hmm.
you're ready to have your blissful life as Mormons.
And if you really want to see how cringy, young, and Mormon we were,
We can put up the picture.
I'd do you one better.
Oh.
We were on a TV show.
I know
You
what you're
got
about to mention.
8 episodes of it.
And I can't believe that I'm promoting this right now because
Do
I
it.
want it to die
Do it.
and be buried forever.
Do
but
it.
I do feel like it's a very good depiction of how
I have
young
finally
and,
been given permission to
like
watch
innocent.
this.
Yeah, not even ignorant. Just all the
Well,
It's embarrassing, but-
we were gonna be messengers for the church.
Oh yeah, we were
We're gonna
God's
spread the
You were
gospel.
approached
chosen-
by a reality TV show that wanted to do just your Mormon life, right? What
No,
was it called?
Teenage Newlyweds.
Teenage Newlyweds.
Yeah, because I was 18. So, but yeah,
Now, how did they find you?
Social
social
media.
media. Yeah.
The day after I proposed and Haley posted the picture, I had a message on Facebook.
Wow.
I guess they found us through like hashtags, I think. But anyway,
Okay.
I don't really want to talk
Yeah,
about
we
the
don't-
show.
yeah, yeah.
You can go watch it if you want, but
Okay.
it's not good.
It's
It's
now. How did they find
very
it?
embarrassing. I don't know. It's
We
called
have no idea.
Teenage Newlyweds.
Come on over. We
It
have it
might
on a
be-
flash drive.
That's true, but don't come over because I'm an introvert. So
Well, I was
Thank you.
forbade to watch this for a long time, but George has said I might be allowed to watch it. And,
Yeah,
and
we
we
You
can talk
can-
about it a little
well,
bit on the
no,
you
show.
can because we trust you and you know us for who
We
we are
may-
now. You know.
We may incorporate like a rewatch of some kind down the
Oh
road.
no, I'm never watching it again. But you guys are welcome
Yeah,
to.
Mike and I
Yeah.
will do it then.
we're
You don't
not-
have to.
We'll
Yeah,
Or
no.
maybe we'll just send it away to Micah, and then Micah can come back
Yeah.
and give his reactions and ask questions.
It might be on Hulu. I know it was on Hulu for a little while, but
okay. All right, and this
That's-
happened
yeah.
how soon after you got married?
While we were getting married,
Oh, why-
they were
this
at
was the
they were at
process
our, they
to
were
getting
at our
married.
wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
anyway.
Wait, but they weren't allowed in the temple.
No,
They were
waited
not.
outside.
Yeah.
They waited outside.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So,
Well, if I can ask one question, so
Yeah.
where are you at spiritually at this point?
very Mormon.
I mean, you say very Mormon, but this whole time you're
Right.
kind of talking about how you're not really bought in. What do you?
Well, I'm not
Can you
bought
explain
into.
that a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm not bought into the social structures of
Okay.
Mormonism.
Okay.
But I'm bought into the doctrine. You know, like I believe. At this point,
Is this
I
like
believe.
a reluctant belief? Like, I guess this is the way the universe is.
No,
Okay.
not even that. I was like, God and Jesus made this earth. They made me. They know me. They love me. This is how it is.
Okay.
I just didn't like that I had to spend 3 hours at church, 1 hour or multiple hours, I guess, at Mutual, and also, XYZ, all these things, and at seminary and blah, blah, blah. I didn't like the social structures of it, but I fully believed in the gospel.
Well, okay. So then, can you give me a little insight into that? Like, you believe the gospel. What did you think about? Did you feel like you had a personal relationship with Jesus and God?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that? What was that like? What was that for you?
I mean, yeah, basically what I just said of like, I mean, he made me, right? God made me.
But were you like
So
praying to Jesus every day?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I was a fervent prayer sayer.
Okay.
Unhealthily, I think it was an obsessive anxiety
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
I was not really reading my scriptures because I've never enjoyed reading. It's always been very difficult for me.
Yeah.
Now that I'm adult, now that I'm an adult, I adult. Now I adult. Anyway, I now know that it's because I have ADHD and I've always had ADHD.
Yes.
Anyway,
Same.
so I wasn't really a scripture reader, but I prayed fervently. I had a testimony. My prayers were very much like, please bless that I'll be safe today and that my mom will be safe today and my dad will be safe today and everyone I love will be safe and no harm or accident will fall upon us and just like a lot about safety and like knowing what to do and what I should do next. And
did you feel like there was a lot of danger out there in the world?
I think I just have a lot of anxiety and I always have.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that's what it was when I was younger. This is a very recent, somewhat recent, I don't know, finding, of myself and understanding.
Did you have any reason to feel anxious as a child?
Yeah, like I think George is shaking his head. Yes.
You don't have to get into things you don't want to.
No,
but
that's okay. I think, I didn't have the most unstable childhood, but there was definitely some instability.
Okay.
I'm having a really hard time talking, but
We're at that
instability.
point in the podcast.
Yeah, and my ADHD meds have worn off for sure by now. Anyway,
time to break out the edibles. Let's go.
Oh, that will make it so much worse for me.
Should go nonverbal for sure.
I will go nonverbal
New
slug.
Year's I'll leave. New Year's I'll leave again. New Year's Eve all over again.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Anyway, so there was some instability for me growing up. We did we moved a lot, which wasn't. I didn't mind that, but we moved a lot. There was a lot of financial instability, so we would go without basic necessities, for long periods of time. I think a lot of what the church teaches about just like, I don't know, like natural disasters. Like I even have a lot of anxiety about that.
You mean like how their judgments on people or?
Oh no, that like the world is going to end.
Oh, right.
With
the end of the
natural
world.
disasters,
Death
you
whole
know?
thing. Yeah.
And to like
Doomsday.
be prepared and
72-hour kits, food storage.
Okay.
Big
Well, I mean,
energy.
there have been in the evangelical church or the Christian Protestant church, there's been whole times when they sold, rapture survival kits,
Oh, yeah.
beans and rice and buckets. Be
the
ready
church-
for the
Relief
apocalypse.
Society. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No,
off.
go ahead.
The Relief Society would like have events where you could come together and put together these 72-hour kits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Also, just like, I mean, I think my parents had too many kids for what they could handle.
Yep.
We only, again, this is my experience, but I feel like we only got attention if you were succeeding at something.
Oh, okay.
And so there was a lot of anxiety to be a high performing person, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. George, what else? What else? You're shaking your head, yes.
No, I think those are the things that came to
That's
my
what
mind.
okay, I was wondering if there's anything else that came to
No,
your
and I
mind.
think I think that's about what I was thinking of in terms of like sources of anxiety.
Yeah. I think my parents didn't have a good relationship. They are now divorced.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And just like modeling of how you engage with it, like from your parents, like your parents were a bit more like responsive to like the end of day messaging, right? Like
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff.
My mom.
Oh, so they were
right.
My
they,
mom was.
They created some anxiety of the world could end at any moment.
Right, like they were very
Oh.
responding to that energy.
Yeah.
Like I remember having like food storage, but I don't remember my parents like responding to that or like making that very front of mind.
My mom
in the
still
same
sends
way.
stuff. Like, hey, the
Oh,
prophet
yeah.
said you should buy coal. You better stock up on coal.
Really?
Yeah.
Something
This
like
was like-
something
coal
like
guy.
that. Yeah,
This
yeah.
was like not that long ago.
You got the word from God.
Cool.
Let's
Yeah.
buy some coal, y'all.
Yeah. And I'm like, listen, I know she has good intentions, but like,
I'm not buying
chill.
coal.
Just relax, you know? So I do think that I just felt a lot of anxiety for a lot of different reasons. So
Yeah.
my prayers were very like not good. I would go
Pleading.
pleading, begging.
There's a lot of begging.
I would
It's a
go
lot-
to
it's
bed.
Very that, yeah.
Like I wouldn't pray on my knees. I would like be laying down in bed praying, which is like a
He
no-no.
can't hear you.
Well, yeah, I guess not. But I would like fall asleep like repeating the same line over and over and over.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So not healthy. Not healthy behaviors, you know. I think it made me more anxious. So anyway,
Yeah, because you can really work yourself up that way.
oh, I totally did. And then
Yeah.
I would have these
This-
horrible intrusive like visions of like bad things happening
Yeah,
to my
because
family.
it's always on
you
your
know?
mind that it
Always.
could happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Always.
Just ruminating on those things.
And did you?
It's not
And it
propelling
could be
you
your fault
through-
because you didn't pray enough.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't beg enough.
yeah.
So I definitely had a relationship with God.
Okay.
You know, I would consider.
Yeah.
I also felt a lot of guilt and shame because
Okay.
I didn't read my scriptures and I
Enough.
didn't kneel when I prayed. And
Yeah.
I had a boyfriend in high school and we made
Okay.
out too much and like
Yeah.
maybe a little too far, you know,
yeah.
like
Yeah. Absolutely.
just
So is-
always the guilt and shame, always about something, you know.
Okay. Do you feel like? Yeah. Okay. And so now you're married, and you're going into this marriage with this relation. Did you carry this relationship with God into your marriage? How did you feel? Like, did it change when y'all got married?
Not for me. Like, not for me. I guess the only difference that, let me think. Remember how I said like when we got married and I became an adult, I really tried with like Relief Society. Like I tried,
Yeah.
you know, and then I think we kind of both, without saying it, like if we accidentally slept in a little too late, we wouldn't rush to go to church. We just
Yeah.
wouldn't go to church. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we got comfortable kind of doing that, but
Little
like
Bonnie
I still,
and Clyde over there.
yeah, but like I still
Menace to
paid my
society.
tithing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I made sure I always paid my tithing.
So do you feel like your connection to religion was more of an anxiousness of if I didn't do this, something bad would happen? Was there something like that?
There was definitely something like that, but again, I think it wasn't even I wasn't even cognizant of that. It was
Right.
just my only option. Like there was
Yeah.
no other reality. So I was just always going to have a religious.
Well, I mean,
You
were
know?
you anxious about getting to the tier of heaven that you were supposed to get to?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so there's that.
Yeah. Oh, I
Okay.
remember this lesson in primary. So I'm a
Yeah.
child. And they said there's 3 tiers of heaven,
Yeah.
you know. And if you there's a thing called conference that happens twice a year.
Yeah.
And basically it's
We've talked about this.
Oh,
a little
you
bit.
have.
Yeah,
Okay, so
yeah,
you know.
just a little bit.
Okay, so the lesson in primary was if you fall asleep and you take a nap during conference, you're not going to the top tier of heaven.
Oh,
You're
just
going
one
to
nap.
this just by a nap. So you can imagine the anxiety that instilled in me when I was like
wow.
7 years old.
Jeez,
Yeah.
They are really,
Yeah.
dang. I mean, they do the hell thing for kids where I come from. There's that. But that's just as bad. That's just as much
Yeah.
anxiety. That's just as much.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're not in the right tier with your family, you wouldn't see your family, right?
They can come down to visit you,
Oh,
but you can't go up
go
to visit
up
them.
to them. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay,
So I mean, truthfully, I kind of always thought that I was not going to go to the celestial kingdom.
really,
I mean, I hoped, right?
But you just
kinda
felt like
have
it was
that
too
feeling as well.
far of a goal.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking slept through conference all the time. Like
Yeah.
what? And then, worse things than that. I didn't read my scriptures. Whatever. I cheated on
so
this test.
They
Blah, blah,
had
blah.
this almost impossible goal
Oh, yeah.
to reach of purity.
Well, yeah,
And I
you
mean-
build
So
up.
there was
You have to be
always-
perfect as Jesus is perfect, and so you have to continue strive. You have to come back to church. You have to do all these things, right? You have to rely on us to do that. You have to get married in the way we
repent,
say.
and
You have to
repent, and
say the right
repent.
words.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
I had similar feelings though. I was like,
So this is
I'm
their-
a terrestrial guy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Terrestrial.
I'll
Sorry,
try, but
I'm not the celestial level here. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, but
So
I
I
had
had-
similar feelings.
So I had a lot of anxiety about
Uh-huh.
like the end of the world.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
because how the fuck was I going to make it there?
Yeah,
Like I'm
yeah.
doing all the things that I should, I guess, in theory,
you
but
don't-
like,
yeah, but you're still impure. You're still a sinner. You still have that shame. Yeah, yeah. And
But
you
I
just
wasn't
don't know,
doing any of,
and
like, the
maybe
ma-
God will be gracious enough.
yeah. And I'm like, and I wasn't doing any of the major, in air quotes, major sins, that would keep me out. But I also wasn't doing everything that I should,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
whatever. So, what were we talking about?
Well, I mean, I was just talking about how you felt about religion at the
Yeah,
time,
and just
Oh,
feeling
coming into your marriage.
like
Yeah.
it is what it was.
Yeah.
No other options. I
Right.
think it speaks to just like the Mormon environment of like Arizona, Utah too. I think it does really allow.
This is important. We moved to Utah
Okay.
immediately after getting married. Like
Is this
2
so you
days
could be in
later.
the promised land?
No, he just got home from his mission, so I
Oh,
kind
I
of
was
felt
going to
like we
school.
should go to Utah because he just spent 2 years away.
Well, stand by your man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm not ragging on George.
No,
I'm
no,
just- I just-
No,
Haley
that's
she was planning on moving up for the summer. But
Okay.
just for the summer.
right,
Okay.
and then we got married, and then
Yeah,
Well, I mean, because
So-
if you were going to do what you wanted to do for the summer, you're going to have to get married first.
exactly.
Exactly. I know what comes in the summer. I
Yeah.
know who comes in the summer. No, I'm just
Oh
kidding.
shit! That's a song. Write a song.
Hey, there you go.
Who comes in the summer?
Me.
I don't know.
me,
Me, bitch. Yeah.
me.
No, that's so bad. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was just kind of our reality, and then I think we built a house in Saratoga Springs, Utah.
Built a house.
We built a house.
Now,
It's just
how'd
like a
you-
little track home. It was,
with these.
These hands.
Well, how
I
are you
signed the
able to
contract
afford
to have
a
somebody
house?
else build a house.
we were both working full time. We lived in a very cheap basement apartment for the first year and a half of our marriage. We saved
Okay.
a fuck ton of money.
Dang.
The show gave us a little bit of money.
It's
The
that
show gives-
teenage newlyweds money.
I mean,
Oh,
no,
okay.
that wasn't like big
It helped.
money at all, but yeah, it helped a little.
Yeah.
And we just saved a lot, and we just built, just like a little track home, so it wasn't
Yeah.
expensive,
Yeah.
Which it's just kind of like, again, like us buying into just like the Mormon steps. Like we
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like put our heads down. It was
Yeah.
like, well, this is next. We need a house to fill with children. Like,
Well, you kind
it
of talked
was that
about
energy.
this, that
Yeah.
you felt this way during the first part of your marriage, that you were just kind of tunnel vision. We're just doing the thing.
Yes.
Was that how you felt?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think I was like cognizant. I just like moving
Yeah.
through life.
Like,
of,
here we go. Here's the next part of
this
my
is the
life.
next
We're
step.
onward. Here we go. We've set on the tracks.
Yep. And we're like, this house is big enough we're going to bring home our first baby in this house in probably
Oh,
like a
y'all
year.
were talking about babies?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we weren't like planning, but we were like, oh, maybe in like a year or two, we'll bring home a baby in this
Okay.
house, whatever.
Okay.
And then we fucking hated living there.
Hell on
It
earth.
was the worst.
Hell on
Why did you
earth.
hate living there?
It just the location.
This home you built?
Yeah,
Fucking
it was.
sucked.
I mean,
Oh, dang.
the house itself was fine.
Yeah.
It was a good
I'm
house, but
grateful we were able to buy it, but I just like the location we hated.
Uh-huh.
It was in the middle of nowhere, it felt like,
Yeah.
One road in, one road out. Traffic was terrible. We were in a
Yeah.
neighborhood full of people who had children, so just like young families.
Yeah, a bunch of babies. Yeah. Ugh.
We had some problems with both our families at that time,
Uh-huh.
and we lived way too close to both of them.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad ended up moving down the street from us in Utah, and a lot of family drama was happening there.
I'm sure.
That's where when my parents actually decided to get divorced was
Yeah.
at that time. Anyway, so I think we were just kind of like, let's get the fuck out of here. And he said like he wanted to go to school somewhere else. I'm like, yes, let's do it.
Okay.
So very on board for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we were just kind of moving through the motions there, and I got called to be in the Young Women's program. So I had just graduated from Young Women's.
Now someone called you.
So
like
the
within
bishop
the church?
of bishop of this ward is a bishop, right? I guess, yeah. Or whoever, I don't know. Yeah, so I got called to be in the Young Women's program, and I was like, dude, I don't want to do that. Like, I just got out of it.
You said I don't want to do that?
I mean, I was like, well, I'm moving in like 3 months, trying to get out of it, you know? Because, I was raised, you don't say no. You do not say no.
Of course, that's why I was surprised that you were saying that.
Yeah, you don't say no to dates. You don't say no to anything in the church, you know? And so he was like, that's fine. We don't care. We want you to like serve while you can. And I was just like, all right, whatever. Hated that calling. But then we moved to Baltimore. So this was June 2018 that we moved.
June 2018. Yep.
And
you at that time were still, because at this point in the journey, I've started in the background kind of moving away from the church.
Yeah.
Right. I'd started my year long of not paying tithing. I had not shared that with Halie. I had not shared any. So Halie was not attuned.
This was the part where he was cursing your home without you knowing.
And I will say, I feel like during this time we lived in that house, we were pretty disconnected.
Very disconnected.
As a couple.
I was just
as
disconnected.
A couple.
Yeah.
Personally,
Well, you needed to. Yeah, it sounds like there was some self-discovery happening that you might have needed some space for.
Yes, self-discovery was coming. It was kind of a pit prior to it.
Okay.
Yeah, of just so like the struggle. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe y'all were just going through the motions.
Very busy.
Yeah. I mean, you're also newlyweds and you hadn't dated very long, so there's a lot of that. Mm-hmm. A lot of figuring each other out, finding out all the things that make you tick and make you explode.
Yeah. Yep. And like we've never really fought. Like we've never been an explosive couple.
Well, I didn't mean it like that, but yeah. You just
watch your mouth.
You have to.
No, but when I say
you have to learn. You have to learn.
For sure.
Yeah, when you figure out, you do this with friends too. You just you get to know each other.
I just mean like when I say disconnected, it wasn't that we were like arguing or anything really insidious. We just.
Yeah. This is definitely more on reflection. I think it's more apparent too.
Yeah, that we were just. I don't know. Yeah, just disconnected. Just there
doing the thing.
And like not really spending that much time together because like I mean I was working full time and also pursuing like makeup artistry at the same time. He was working full time, going to school full time, you know, so we were just very busy, very just there.
Did you feel like your religion was slipping from you?
No. Not at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet for me.
We were still going to church. We were still doing all the things, and like I said, I hadn't shared about the tithing, and so I think Halie was kind of in the same place from when we got married. Would you say?
Yeah, and like I said, like you know, if we didn't make it to church 1 or 2 times here or there, I wasn't mad about that. But I also wasn't like, I don't want to be Mormon, you know, like I wasn't cognizant, you know.
Well, I mean, how could you? I mean, you weren't going to get to heaven if you weren't Mormon, right? You weren't going to get to the celestial whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. So we moved to Baltimore.
Yeah.
And I think that's when things really started to change.
Okay.
For
you?
Yeah. I think for both of us.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So let me see. I got a job working as a makeup artist. And just meeting a whole bunch of people, like that, you know, that would come into the store. I was connecting with a lot of people, my coworkers, and it was just like, this sounds so silly and like kind of sad to say, but like my first experience with people who were different than me, you know, grew up in a different life. And I was like, oh, they're amazing. they're not bad people.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're starting to realize maybe how sheltered you had grown up.
Oh, yeah.
Did you not realize that when you were growing up?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Not at all.
Yeah. And how because we kind of talked about how homogenous Utah is, and it very much is.
Yeah.
With
Arizona,
the community in Arizona where you went to school and all that.
I think it was more diverse than Utah, but not by much.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I was still like a lot of people were Mormon around me, a lot of white people, you know, but there was some, you know, socioeconomic diversity, racial diversity too. Sure. Probably a little bit more religious diversity, but again, still very Mormon.
Yeah.
So yeah, Baltimore.
So Baltimore's the first time when you're actually getting to interact with people who maybe aren't.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was the same for you. I know for me, going out there was this energy of like, I don't know, I may have talked about it, of like, oh, we're going to go out there and like we're going to be persecuted, or like people are going to be like, this, like this is such a big deal that you're Mormon, and then you get out there and it's like no one fucking cares. Yeah. They're just vibing and living their lives, and and then you just say like, oh, I don't drink. They're like, oh, okay, and I'll give you other advice, and like people were just so kind in a way that I wasn't taught to anticipate.
Okay.
For me,
I think I did have a manager there who I'm still friends with today. She was very sweet and would ask me questions, you know, about Mormonism. Yeah. And just like my family life and, you know, dynamics and stuff like that. So, because I was like, oh man, everybody's going to be so interested to hear that I'm Mormon.
Well, I am,
because what a special, right? But yeah, most people were just like, I don't know what that is, you know?
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, okay. But she was
grand
like,
story kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
What grand story?
Just that we're the special type of people that everyone's going to be so fascinated to hear about, and we're just like this shiny little unicorn.
Oh, is that what they tell you?
Yeah, more or less.
Energy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like everybody. Is there maybe this idea that they teach you that maybe Mormons are looked at as these special higher up people that people look up to out in the wider world?
Well, you're told that you have a light in your eyes, and you can tell in
Jesus
your countenance
Christ.
that there's something
my
different.
God, yeah.
So people see that, you know.
Oh yeah, do they?
And they'll know.
They see something. No, I
yeah. So I mean, I just met a bunch of really amazing people that I was just like, duh, you know, like, oh, they're happy.
Yeah.
You can be happy outside the church. What? You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that just really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And then I think George working in the field that he was working in at the time, you know, which, you know, still psychology because he was going to grad school out there, you know.
Yeah.
And then just like telling me these stories, you know, of just obviously not anything like HIPAA violating, you know, but just like experiences in life, you know, I don't even know, just other people's lives, you know?
Yeah.
And it just like kind of taught me compassion,
Yeah.
which is like sad that I didn't know that I didn't have compassion really before that.
Yeah, you're taught you have the perfect kind of love. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was judgment is what I was taught.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I think I do credit George a lot for just like opening my eyes, but in a way of just like offering, well, what about this? What about this? Like consider this person. And because I would say something that was just like not spewing, what's the word? Regurgitating, you know, phrases that I learned as a Mormon. And then he would kind of be like, well, you know, offer a new perspective, you know, is what he would do. And then I'd be like, oh.
And George was saying he was kind of learning this at university, right? You said some of your professors were helping you understand other people's perspectives as well.
Yeah.
Which kind of broadened your worldview there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that hand in hand with me just like experiencing other people in the world.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
I was like, whoa, you know, there's.
Yeah.
And at that point, I still
wasn't done. Did you see anything that you envied outside of your Mormonism?
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't know if it was envy,
Sure.
really, but just like possibilities of full happy lives outside of Mormonism, you know?
Well, so you were still like, this is cool. There's other perspectives. There's other lives to live. I'll still keep living my Mormon life.
Yeah, but it was starting to raise some questions for me.
Pero like what?
You know, like being gay, you know?
Okay.
Gay people.
Yeah. Yep. They,
Like
they exist.
They exist.
They're real.
And you know what? Like I had
Talk about unicorns.
I had a manager in Utah who was gay,
Uh-huh.
but it was like not really a thing that I thought about, you
Yeah,
know?
sure.
But then I had another manager in Baltimore who was gay, and she was the one who was like asking me questions and just being very kind to me, you know,
Sure.
like just actually curious about my life, not interested in the like joining the religion or anything, but just wanted to
She just wanted
understand
know.
me.
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
Which I thought
Who
was
is Halie?
yeah, which is very
Who is Julie?
Who is
Who
Halie
is
Julie?
Lucy?
Halie Julie Lucy. But yeah.
Who is Penelope? Halie, your middle name's Penelope now.
Okay. Halie, Penelope, Julie, Lucy. What other like E names?
Evandrius.
That's not an E name. No, like ending in E.
Oh, ending in
Sorry.
E. Oh,
I kind of like Evandrius. I think we
Where
can
did
hold
that
on.
come from? You just pulled that straight out of your ass. I'm impressed. Okay, anyway.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here's a big
You
one.
wanted a middle name. I gave you like 30 in this
Yeah,
episode.
you're welcome.
You're good.
I'm
Yeah.
collecting them
Yeah.
all.
Yes, sorry.
I love them. So yeah, just okay. Black Lives Matter. That was a big.
Yeah.
big
Okay. So George mentioned this. So I guess this came about in what is it 2020?
2020.
Well,
2021?
before that,
Okay. Yeah. It came to popularity, I guess.
you know, my experience with it.
Okay. Go. So
We
let
were
me know.
driving and there was a Black Lives Matter sign and me regurgitating, all lives matter. Why do we have
Okay,
to
yeah.
say
That
Black
could've-
Lives Matter?
That may have been before even Baltimore, honestly.
No, it
Could've-
wasn't. It
It
was-
wasn't?
I remember
Okay.
it, yeah.
Because that was
Okay.
yeah.
And George was like, you know, he explained it to me and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
duh.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. Like I've just never, not that it's anyone's responsibility to tell me,
Sure.
but I've just been in like
You've never
robot
been
mode,
exposed to that.
regurgitating
No, right.
everything that I've been told.
Well,
you know
I think
what
this
mean?
is what is sinister about religion and its way that it controls your environment and controls the way what you're allowed to experience and learn, is because it makes sure that you're not exposed to those things. Your religion made sure that you were not exposed to a Black person's life or experience or struggle or difference from yours. And you were told what to think about them, but you were never given a chance to experience it or experience their perspective from them. And that is something that religion is, like Mormon religion is very adamant about, or mine, you know, where I come from, evangelical religion is very adamant about when it comes to other people's worldviews, maybe not race, because my religion banks on the struggle and desperation of people that may have not have it as good. And so then you have a lot of, you know, whether it's minorities or whatever coming in. So you at least have those experiences, but then you have the idea that anyone else's worldview is the devil.
Right.
Yeah,
It's Satan.
And
Yeah.
like, may I?
you may.
Thank you. We were talking even before the podcast a little
Uh-huh.
bit, just like the idea of accepting like a full sale dogma and the way that it limits your ability to engage and de-incentivizes engagement with ethical consideration or moral consideration. So Black Lives Matter,
Yeah.
you hear the messaging with the environment you're in, which is hyper conservative, which is
Right.
discriminatory, and you're not taught to engage with that in a way to self-identify your belief in it.
Right.
You're groomed to accept information that is
you're
handed
told
to
what
you
to think
by
about it.
authority figures.
Yes,
And I think it
yes.
even speaks to like your experience with the religion of, and going back to like children growing up in the faith, like growing up in a dogma in that way allows you to engage with things in such like a disconnected, like unthoughtful way.
Yeah.
Not to like comment on you
No,
like, per se, but
I
but
was
like,
a robot
it allows
walking
you
around.
to do that,
Yeah.
which is also so damaging. I think that's what I started feeling. I think like, which was influencing our relationship together too. But with just that like, just like this I think that
Well, and it also and what's funny to me is the moral superiority that people that are in it feel.
right.
Maybe even you felt, or I know I felt. I
for
know
sure.
I
You have the
am
truth,
sure
yeah.
that you felt, and you've never even experienced these perspectives. You've been told what to think. And I can tell you right now that the people that are in it, they feel a moral superiority to everyone else that they can't even comprehend their experience, but they feel such moral superiority because they're told that that's the case. They're given told what to think about it, that all lives matter. Don't you know? That's the moral superior take, is all lives matter. That's the way God feels. Same thing. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And that part is a little disgusting. It's a little gross when you look at it.
Awful.
And I mean, and you can't, and these people, I don't know how much, obviously there's personal responsibility involved. You have to, if you're an adult, you gotta be an adult. But at the same time, you were in it. I was in it. You were in it. We've all been there.
Yeah.
It happens. It's
For
very
sure.
real.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like all these little seeds, starting to be planted in my mind. And then 2019, I think you already talked about this on your episode.
Not this part necessarily.
Are you okay if I share this part?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So 2019, we are still, I would say, even more disconnected at this point, because as a couple,
just clarifying. Yeah.
Because for a lot of, he is working full time, going to grad school full time. And so, and I was unemployed for a couple months trying to find a job. And then I started working, and I wasn't working that much, in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, let me get out of his way so that he can do homework and whatever. So I kind of spent most of my time like making music, actually, in our bedroom, small 1-bedroom apartment. He's in the living room.
No, you're still Mormon, but
We're
you're
still
making
Mormon.
music. Okay.
Yeah.
So were you making some Mormon music?
Oh, no, I was just doing covers. Like I was just learning
how
and
to
getting
do
comfortable how to produce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on.
So I spent a lot of
Were
my
you
time
covering Mormon Tabernacle Choir? Or?
Hell no.
Come thou fount of every blessing.
Amen.
Fuck that. No. So, I think we were just very disconnected, and I thought I was being a supportive spouse by like giving him a space, to do school and stuff. But then I discovered that George was like viewing pornography, which is a big no-no.
Oh, during your marriage.
Yeah.
Oh,
this
okay.
Is this is in Baltimore.
Okay, so this is something y'all had to deal with together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, that was obviously a big thing because in Mormonism, that's like... That's like so...
Any religion,
yeah.
it's big. It's a big deal. Yeah.
But then,
I would say any Christian religion, it's probably the biggest deal.
Yeah. And like hiding it for so long and which, now, like I get it now. There's so much shame. There's so much shame around it that like... how could you not hide it,
Well, there's the hiding. There's the George, as a teenager, you were talking about that you really were in, getting into it. And there is a thing. That switches something in your brain. That goes, and so that's Yeah. It's there. It's real. A lot of people.
And I think like, I want to stay focused for sure. 'Cause we are going to have a whole episode like on sexuality.
sexuality,
I think
for sure.
For
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
this is going to be a big piece of that.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think like it goes back to with the whole idea of like pornography and Mormonism. It is like a rampant, quote unquote, problem.
Oh,
right?
okay. In the Mormon church.
Right.
Yeah, just kind of
And
hidden. It's under the rug.
It is.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's
it
very...
goes back for me. I've been thinking about it more because I know like we were going to talk about this, and like it goes back a little bit to like the creating solutions to problems that you caused in the first place, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think you have to be within a religion to have like a poor relationship with pornography,
Yeah,
or like an
yeah.
overutilization of it.
Yeah.
But the way that it's treated
Oh,
in that environment, the shame,
yeah.
the
the
secrecy,
the sexual repression almost makes it
right,
have to happen.
right. And so, yeah, I'll say like, you know, to continue with your experience. But
Yeah,
I think
go
that's
ahead.
just
Yeah.
in there.
So
you discovered this.
So I
that's a big
discovered-
deal. From your perspective, that's a big deal, obviously.
absolutely.
well,
I mean,
it was
it was
a
a big
huge
deal.
And it
betrayal
made me-
of my trust.
Yes,
It was,
of course,
and it
of
was.
course. That's
Yeah.
how
It
it
was.
is.
You
Yeah.
know, we had made an agreement. We had an understanding.
Right.
And so
So what happened then? I mean,
Okay.
what was going through your mind?
Yeah, so I'm like freaking out. Like basically, this version of what I thought our marriage was a lie.
Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't a worthy priesthood holder when we got married in the temple, so that's a sham. And like,
Yeah.
you know, just all
So-
this vision I had of who George
Okay.
was and what our relationship was
It all started crumbling
it
down.
crumbled,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot. I know. I
yeah, and
I
like
know.
you know, now I have a different lens on it.
Sure, of course, of
You know?
course. No, I'm not. I'm
But in
just,
the moment-
I'm trying to. I'm in your
Yeah.
point of view at that moment, and I
Yeah.
think that's important for the story.
Absolutely.
like what that feels like.
Oh yeah,
in the
Yeah.
moment.
no, this was a
Yeah.
big
Yeah,
changing moment for me.
sure,
okay,
sure.
because now I'm like, oh, well, shit. What do I do?
Yeah,
you know,
you just ruined heaven
this
for
person.
them.
Well, yeah, this person is not who I think
I'm
he
ragging
is.
on George. I'm sorry. I was just ragging a little
I
bit.
deserve
Yeah,
it. It's okay.
no, I just like this person is not who I think he is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What else am I not aware of?
Yeah.
You know, just like I just feel like I've been fooled for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
Because at this point it was 4 years.
Yeah, 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, well,
3
and,
and some change.
And to say that, I mean, the man in the marriage is the representation of God in
Yeah.
the household,
Yeah.
right? And so there's even the correlation there of like, oh, my image of this person, and then my image of God is probably affected with that too. I mean, you were talking about the church, like, well, that was a sham that he was given this priesthood in the church or something like that. I mean, I can see where. Yeah, you're like, oh no, I'm starting to question things.
Yeah, and like patriarchal blessings we kind of touched on
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
My patriarchal blessing says you'll know who you're supposed to marry after some very specific training that you complete in your life.
Yeah.
That has never made sense to me. I don't know
sure.
what that was talking about. Even when I was Mormon, no idea what it was
Yeah.
talking about. And I was like,
Well, it'll be revealed.
well, I was like, maybe this is it.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the training,
Oh,
and
maybe this
I'm
is your
not supposed to
chance?
be with George. Like that's what I was thinking.
Oh,
And
wow.
so,
okay.
and I'm like,
That's big
now I'm
thoughts. That's big
obviously,
thoughts.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like obviously very glad I didn't listen to some old guy who just like made up words, you know, for my fortune telling.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you had, and I don't know what you did, if you did go to your parents and talk about this or not, but would they have supported you divorcing George after this? Or would the church have supported you divorcing George after this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there would have been some slight pushback of like,
I
are
think,
you
like,
sure?
yeah.
Okay.
There
No,
would've
I'm just
been-
wondering
there would've been
where
that.
they would stand with this because, I mean, a lot of times it is a lot of, even if it's a more egregious sin of, I mean, abuse, they'll tell you to stay with your husband.
Yeah.
You know, something that's actually bad. You know, I mean, obviously there's the trust thing, obviously.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
the you know, the church would defend an abusing husband at times. I've seen that happen.
Right. Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, I think
I've seen the church guard sex offenders. Like,
Right.
What the
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't go to my parents. At this point, I didn't
Yeah.
have a relationship with my mom.
okay. So did you feel
And-
kind of alone in this? Like you were
Yeah.
like, oh, I got to figure this out for myself.
So, okay, I don't want to like. let's just say, okay, so pornography is basically every Mormon man has looked at pornography or looks at it, uses it, whatever. You can say all day that you haven't. I don't believe you.
Right.
So like that being said,
yeah.
I didn't feel comfortable going to my dad about it.
Oh, well, yeah, that'd be
You
weird.
know?
Yeah, sure.
It'd be weird. Yeah. And so
I'm just wondering,
had
like,
my
when it comes
sister-
to your faith and stuff, like, what were you feeling? Like, what is this a part where you started to question your faith?
yeah, so I'll get there.
Okay, go
so I went straight to my bishop. Found out,
Oh, you went to
had
your
to go to
bishop.
work. After work, went straight to my bishop
Okay.
because I didn't know where else.
Yeah,
what
give me
else
the dirt.
to do? Yeah.
What did he say?
Oh, I don't even remember really, but
Yeah.
basically he was like, oh, okay, I'll be, he was supportive.
Sure.
He did.
In what
I'll
way?
give it to him. He did a good job as far as bishops can go.
Maybe it's
you
like
know?
leveling it out. Like, okay, let's take a step back. Let's maybe, or what was he saying?
He was
What
like, what do you need?
Okay.
He allowed us to like he met with us both.
Yeah.
I met with him.
I mean, I feel bad about this because like I just ratted George out to the bishop.
He's a rat.
But like I didn't know what to do. Like that's what you're told to do is to like rely on your bishop.
No,
and
they teach you to rat.
I needed spiritual guidance.
They do. They teach you to rat. That's real.
Well, I
is.
was like, what do I do? Like what does this mean for me? And so like he met with us and he like gave us like church therapy vouchers. So we went to like the church therapist.
Yeah.
Awful
Awful.
experience.
The church marriage therapist thing. Yeah.
Awful.
We did
We went
we did
separately.
individual therapy.
Sure.
And all I was told was, well, God loves you. And here's a talk. Read this talk that an old prophet gave. And I said, I know God loves me because at this point I still believed in God.
Yeah.
But I need fucking skills to cope. And this is not,
Right.
this isn't helpful.
Right.
So
Sure.
that made me mad,
Yeah.
Can I say
yeah.
mine walked me through a Book of Mormon story about some leaders getting distracted by like the women of another like group or something.
Yeah,
I don't even remember the gist of it, but we just read the Book of Mormon together and then I just like went home.
Yeah. So not helpful. I think, and at that point I was like, I need some space from you. We still lived together and stuff, but I'm like, I
there's
don't
just
trust you.
Yeah, you got to come back together.
You gotta
Yeah.
build your trust back. And then that's when he told me, I don't have a testimony.
That was
Oh, that was
a
when that
couple
happened.
months later,
Well,
right? It was a little.
I mean, I'm condensing all this.
Yeah, but it was
that's
within that.
Like maybe that was a catalyst for you to feel like you could open up about that.
The way I remember it is, so after that happened, I dove back in.
Yeah.
And like I was in my like I'm gonna try it mode still, but I dove really hard in and I was like I'm gonna try.
This was after this happened. You were like, okay, I'm gonna try my hardest to do this right because I fucked up. And
Exactly.
I need to make it right.
Right, and I've talked about the anxiety or the self-consciousness I feel just about like the messaging around pornography and the way it numbs you and all this stuff like to the spirit.
Sure.
And so I was like, okay, yeah, like I'll give it a full college try or whatever. And then I know like pretty early on we had the discussion about tithing. That was pretty early. After things had opened up, I was honest about that. And then it was like a little bit later we were like driving home and you asked me, I think. I don't know if you asked me directly something. I was like, I really don't know that I have a testimony.
And at this point, I'm taking care of my side of the street. Like I'm still doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. Blah, 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 and then, he told me like, I don't have a testimony, but I'm going to try. And I was like, oh, like heartbroken,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Cause he mentioned that you said that you were sad.
Yeah. Oh, I was devastated.
Yeah. Okay. So that was even more devastating than the.
No.
Okay.
No.
So I mean, at this point, you'd already been
No.
you'd already been softened as far as that went.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so so then what?
So then, it changed the way I viewed men at church.
Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't get to go to church that often because I worked a job that I had to work on Sundays.
Sure.
So every once in a while I would go, and the first time I went back after all this happened, I was extremely triggered. Sitting
so?
in sacrament meeting. there was one man specifically
Okay.
who always just tried too hard. Like I just looked at him and I was like, what are you trying to do? Like, who are you trying to impress? Like,
You
what
felt
are you
like
trying
he was
to prove?
putting it on a little too much?
Always. And this was before before I knew all of this
Mm-hmm.
about George. I just saw this man and he just gave me the ick, you know, just
Mm-hmm.
like the whatever. And then all this happened and revealed, and I was like, you're fucking probably doing it too, you know? And I was like, all you sons of bitches sitting
She
on this
said
pulpit.
It was you too. It was you too.
Yep.
It was you.
All you bitches sitting on the pulpit judging us, staring down at us, that I'm going to doing my worthiness interview with you and you've probably doing it too. You know, and I was like,
Yeah.
you guys are all liars, you know? And I was like, everybody here is a fucking liar.
Okay. Okay.
And so I was just like, I need to go.
Yeah,
And so I
yeah.
just like left,
So
you
you're
know?
kind of realizing that everybody here is a human being and
Yeah.
not some prophet, angel,
Yeah.
God ordained,
Well,
whatever. You're starting to see the
hypocrites
humanity.
is what I'm seeing, you
Okay,
know? At a
okay. You're
more-
straight up seeing hypocrites.
Oh, I went very not humanistic.
Yeah.
I went, oh, you're all lying. How
Yeah.
dare you sit there and judge me?
Uh-huh.
Not that I'm
Yeah.
perfect, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
You did everything you could to do everything right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was told that if I did everything I was supposed to do, I was supposed to have a great marriage and a happy life. And I've just, you know, like, I'm still best friends with George and I love him so much, you know, but
Yeah.
like I felt very disconnected and for
Yeah.
the past few years, and now I feel betrayed,
Yep.
you know? So I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep.
And so that was just very hard to be at church.
Yeah.
And to be quote unquote led by these men who I don't trust at all now, you know? I'm just like, fuck you guys. So from there, it just kind of like a natural progression. I just started seeing more and more and more things, you know, that I was
Okay.
like, oh, that's not what I thought it was either. Or,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Just like all the things about the church,
Sure.
just hypocrite. What's the
Hypocrisy.
word? Hypocrisy. Thank
Yeah.
you.
What were you seeing that felt like hypocrisy to you? Can you name a thing or two, or
Oh boy.
does anything come to mind?
I think I just things that I already knew, but like didn't really say out loud, you know? So like a lot of it was like having to do with families. Like families are forever is a big
Yes.
thing in
Okay.
Mormonism, and the
So-
happy family thing. And I'm like, I already know my family was fucked up, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. You already knew that you came from a broken home.
Yeah.
Or like a marriage that wasn't perfect. Mm-hmm. And then your marriage seemed to have flaws too.
Yeah.
And maybe you were thinking, okay, these ones that seem perfect in the church or that they herald as perfect are probably not.
Yeah, and I'm like, everybody here is struggling. Nobody is what they appear to
and
be.
they are.
you know,
Yes, they are.
which is very human, you know.
Yep.
And I came to that lens later.
Yeah.
Of just like, oh, it's not everybody individually who's just choosing to be deceitful and is like sinister. That's not what it is. It's the organization that's
Yeah.
causing everybody to hide.
Yeah, to have to hide
Right.
their sin. Yes.
Yeah.
Or quote unquote sin.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah,
And-
sin's not real.
Right.
Sin is fake.
It's fake. But it was a breakdown of that like patriarchal facade too, right? Like brought that
Yes.
completely into your awareness.
Yeah.
Yes.
And broke it all at the same time,
Yes.
right? I
Yeah.
think it was operating in the background, especially because like we didn't have a very like patriarchal relationship at
No.
all. We've never related to each other in that way.
Right.
And
Yeah,
so
gender norms, never.
we were
We've
just
never.
whatever. And so yeah, I think maybe that was it too. It's like that's all here and it's all bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely broke the patriarchy for me for sure.
All right.
Which
we got another
God
one. We
bless
got
the
another one,
USA.
girls.
Yeah, exactly.
We got them.
Exactly. So yeah.
Well, and there is this, obviously, the patriarchy, to define it, is this idea that man should lead, is the head.
Right.
In the church, the man is the head of the family. The women and children are submissive to the man in the man's direction. The man is the one that is blessed by God to lead everything. And the man is the one who's worthy, quote unquote. That's kind of the
Right.
feeling you get, is the man is
Right.
the one that's worthy. So you should respect and give this reverence to the man because he's so.
Just because he's a man.
Just because he's a man. Well,
Really?
and because and lift him up higher than yourself
Right.
because he's
Yeah.
a man. And this facade was breaking for you because you're realizing, oh yeah, men are actually humans first of all, but,
Right.
and then I mean,
I was angry.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
mad because I'm like, what the fuck? I've always been
Yes.
taught,
Yes.
women have to be nice and pleasant,
Yeah.
and we do the hard work. Like we carry it all so that the man doesn't have to, because he's already up here. He's carrying it, everything else.
Oh, yeah.
And for what? For what?
For what?
For them to be lying and for, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's
you
what
were
I was
feeling
mad
that,
about, was
yeah.
the judgment that I was
Yeah.
like, I'm being judged, but I'm by these people who are doing the things that I was told not to do. And I listened.
and
like,
it
I wasn't
also-
doing it.
I mean, it sets you up for that failure too. It
Oh, for
sets
sure.
the men up
Right.
for that failure because the
Yeah.
man is not that.
No, I mean,
men are not inherently some noble, virtuous people. They're just humans. Some of them are, just like women and all humans. Some are and some aren't. Mm-hmm. And to just automatically give that to them is to set them up for, first of all, for this like expectation, and then this definitely going to happen. Yeah, that's definitely going to happen. And then the women set the women up to be, obviously, A, disappointed, and then B, put in this subservient position that is not necessary at all,
and dangerous.
and not helpful.
Dangerous.
Dangerous. Okay,
So
give me Yeah,
dangerous.
give me dangerous.
I mean, subservient wife to an abusive husband who's ego and power hungry because he was told that he was special and had power. So dangerous. I mean, not our situation.
No,
obviously.
no.
But just in religion in general,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
Mormonism, literally in my marriage vows, I vow to be subservient.
Yeah.
That's so dangerous
I
to
mean,
put
that's
people in
that's
this
so
position.
icky. It's so icky.
so icky.
To have any human vow to be subservient is icky. But to have all women vow that is
Yeah.
icky.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I have a different lens on it all now, now that I've deconstructed a lot, and like we've worked through a lot, especially, like 2020 through 2022, 2023, I feel like we worked through a lot, and I'm very grateful I didn't divorce him.
Well,
Like my,
yeah. Aren't we
my
all?
patriarchal blessing. Yeah. But so that was the start
Yeah,
of things really crumbling, like actually crumbling. And I couldn't be at church. It was really hard for me.
Oh,
The
okay.
bishop
so,
knew.
Yeah.
He knew what I was going
It
through.
was hard. Yeah, part of it was because the bishop knew what was going on.
Oh, no.
It was the men.
Saying-
Seeing the men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the
Well, you just mentioned the
hypocrisy.
bishop just now. I just thought that's what you meant. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Just he knew that it was hard for me to be there, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And then I remember,
Because also prior to this, I think you already mentioned, like Halie wasn't going to church like consistently because of work. I think you mentioned that a little while ago.
yeah.
So when we were able to go, then it started just feeling worse and worse.
Yeah.
When we would,
So I
we would
really-
leave really quickly.
Yeah, so I would just stay for the first part to take the sacrament because that was the most important part, and then I would go home because I just couldn't.
You just
I
do
couldn't
that?
be there and
Yeah.
listening to people preach to me, And I was like, "How can you stand there and preach at me?"
Yeah. I love that. She drew a line.
Yeah, I did. So, nope, goodbye. Yeah, and then I think we went on a lot of hikes instead of going to church.
Okay.
We had
cute.
nature church,
Aw,
and we
cute.
just talked
Yeah.
about everything and our worldviews and what we believed in and what we didn't believe in and what didn't sit right with us with church. And
Okay.
so I'm discussing all of this with him. working through what I am now starting to like. I'm forming my beliefs and finding what my morals, I guess. You know.
At this time too, we're like earlier when we mentioned like the church's like lesson plans, right? We're doing that together consistently. We read the whole New Testament together. We made it through
The whole New Testament.
We read the whole New Testament together.
Jesus, yep.
Damn, I don't remember that.
We made it through about half of the Book of Mormon. Which
So
will
you're
be part of the
trying.
story.
You're trying
We're trying.
to
Yeah,
see.
we're doing it.
Yeah,
And
and
I-
I mean,
and it's
this
still-
is common with deconstruction.
Right.
Is people will think, oh, they just want to throw off the religion
Again,
and go
yeah.
do whatever they want.
Oh.
But
Just wait.
so many people are trying. You know, they're
kept
trying
trying
to
to figure
keep
it out.
believing,
Yeah.
and they're just finding it harder and harder and harder
Right.
until you get to a place where it's just not possible anymore.
Right.
It's just not possible to believe
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, this is running kind of long, but are you
Yeah.
guys okay if I keep going? You can
keep going.
chop
We'll
it into
figure it out,
multiple
yeah.
episodes
Yeah,
if you
no,
want,
no, no,
whatever.
go ahead.
Sort it. Go ahead.
So
As long as you're cool to keep talking.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good.
I'm here to listen.
I'm good.
We
Let's
are
go, baby.
here.
I am fully present and interested.
Thank you very much.
I want to know what's up.
Okay. So, timeline gets a little fuzzy for me. I can't remember exactly, but I would say that so 2020,
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
At this point, like we're not going to church that often because I'm struggling with it.
Yeah.
We're working on our relationship.
We are reading. That's when we were reading through the Book of Mormon with the lesson plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
that
yeah.
year, and
Yeah.
we made it to about April, May when we quit because we
And-
couldn't handle.
Oh my God. I was like, this is disturbing.
Just dumb.
What were you finding disturbing about the Book of Mormon?
So, I mean,
Give me the goods.
was it Nephi or
Captain Moroni is what was our turning point of like this
Well,
book
and
is
Nephi.
nonsensical.
Captain
Yeah.
Moroni.
These are both two characters that are supposed to be just like very noble, very like
They're
the
like-
heroes of
They're like
Mormonism.
the Moses,
Okay.
like Noah characters, Peter. like-
And we were reading these stories, and I'm like, Nephi is a fucking bully.
yeah.
He is a pompous ass, And then
Tear down Nephi. Tell him.
yeah,
Nephi's
and I'm
a-
like, I'm supposed to be impressed by this story. This
Yeah.
isn't okay. This
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
And then we got to Captain Moroni, right? And he's like this big like bro energy like fave character. Like the bros love Captain Moroni, and we got to it, and he's just like it's very like Moses, like just murdering people for like the second half of his story.
Yeah.
That's all he does. It's just,
He's
Committing
just
he's
genocide.
just killing.
killing
He's just
people.
killing other people, and we're like, why are we reading this? Like literally,
Yeah.
why are we
Yeah,
reading
yeah.
and I was
this?
like, I
don't
am
get
not feeling
I don't get
the
anything.
spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
feeling
not
disturbed.
feeling the love of God.
Yeah.
Truly, we were just like, we tried, but we were just like, I
I'm like, I
cannot
don't like
read
Well,
this.
it's
Yeah.
interesting because when you were in it, did you know about these stories?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, yeah, we
Okay.
knew of them. Like
And-
I said, I was
well-
never like a big scripture reader because it was hard for me, but I
Sure.
did study all this,
Yeah,
like
sure.
in
I'd-
seminary and
Yeah.
church.
I had
and
read
stuff.
the Book of Mormon.
Well,
a
I
handful
think
of
it is interesting because there is kind of this rose-colored glasses that gets put on the stories of the Bible, and ones that get skimmed over.
Yeah.
The ideas that get skimmed over, or the justifications that come with this.
Mhm.
I mean, because I think when I got out and I realized, oh my God, God committed genocide.
Right.
Yeah.
There were whole genocides that God was totally cool with.
Oh yeah. Book of Mormon's full of that too.
And when you're in it, you're not thinking that.
No.
Because these people were evil.
Yeah.
Well, why were they evil? Because they worshipped some other god.
Right. I mean, the Captain Moroni story like hit differently when I was a missionary.
Yeah.
Right? Like it did. Like I was able to pull out of it what I needed, but that was also like I just needed to justify giving up 2 years of my life, right?
Yeah.
And so it was
Yeah.
that made me kind of like twist the story
Yeah.
and like take it in a different way. And that's
Yeah.
mostly when I read the Book of Mormon myself.
Yeah.
Was when I was a missionary, but this was the first time. I mean,
Well,
that may have been
it could be to the judgment too, to your changing point of view of
For sure.
morality.
It was,
where
'cause we
you
were
start to realize, oh
steeped.
shit,
Mhm.
I was just taught to judge people who don't believe what I believe, and the Bible condones that. The Bible's in on that.
Yeah.
You don't. Sodom and Gomorrah,
Right.
a bunch of sinners who didn't believe what God believed. They were sinning against God, so they deserved to die.
Right.
They deserved judgment.
Yeah.
because they were not following our God.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that is what the religion teaches you. One of my favorite phrases is, there's good and bad people. A bad person can do good things, but to get a good person to do bad things, you need religion. Because you need God to tell you it's okay to do it.
Yeah.
And that'll make a good person do bad things all day. And you watch it, obviously, you watch
For
it
sure.
in religion all the time. You watch it.
That's why Nephi killed Laban.
There you go. Because God told you to.
Because God told him to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mona.
So yeah, we're reading the Book of Mormon.
Yeah.
Then you made the point too. Like we're steeped in the politics of 2020. We're processing everything going on. Mass conversations. Black Lives Matter. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the pandemic hits.
Mm-hmm.
Out where we were, completely normal, natural to wear a mask. That was like not even a debate.
Sure.
You just wear a mask.
Yeah.
Because it's safer for everyone.
Yeah, yeah. That was very funny to me. The whole mask thing. Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know that it was even controversial until I had a conversation with one of my sisters.
Uh-huh.
And we fought about it. And we don't fight. Like we were really close. We don't fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? Like after the phone call ended, I was like, why is this something we're even fighting about? Like this just is weird to me. Like,
yeah,
obviously you would wear a mask to protect the people around you from a deadly fucking, what?
Yeah.
And so that made me I was like, but you're Mormon and you're taught to like love your neighbor. I mean, we're both Mormon, but like we're supposed to love our neighbors and take care of one another.
Yeah. Instead, you want to go sneeze on them and give them a disease.
Made no sense. So that was another
it's
thing
giving
that I was like,
smallpox blankets for the American natives.
Seriously.
that's what it's giving.
Seriously. And like just the fact that, and then I learned that like every Mormon like felt that, not every Mormon, I shouldn't say that, but like,
but a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a part of the Mormon culture. Was the whole
and like the prophet had to come out and
not
say
wearing
like,
masks.
well, they had to eventually come out and say like, you should wear a mask, y'all. Like the prophet had to do that, you
He's
know.
like, let's have some common sense here.
Yeah, like let's listen to science.
So listen, I know we
dude.
believe in golden plates being taken away by an angel so that nobody can see them, but wear a fucking mask.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably because the prophet's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I'm old. I'm old.
I am 95, y'all. Yeah, or however old.
Don't give me
94.
Don't give me COVID.
Seriously.
Those were the people who were dying. Were the prophet age people, or Mormon prophet age, because they're older.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a thing that I was like, okay, my morality is not lining up with the community that I was raised in.
Yeah.
So, and then the George Floyd murder, you know, huge, horrible, awful, and
what were you seeing Mormons like trying to?
I mean,
all lives matter.
Yeah,
I mean,
give all that stuff.
It makes me so, I don't know, like, because I was obviously, what am I trying to say? I feel like I went through this political renaissance at the same time, right?
Yeah.
I was conservative beforehand.
Of course.
Voted for Trump in 2016.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My biggest sin.
George did the best of us.
George did too.
If sin is real, that's my biggest sin.
Yeah, there you go.
So very ashamed about that, but we've grown.
We've grown, and amen.
Yeah.
Yes, we've grown.
So I
70-something million people have not, but there we go.
Yeah.
And they may be listening to this, and we hope you find positive
Jesus.
things in what's happening here. But I think you know where we stand on this. So there you go.
So I mean, I was like speaking out, you know, and trying to be like trying to use my voice. You know, I never have. As a Mormon woman, you don't have a voice.
Yeah.
You don't have one.
Yeah.
And so I was trying.
Yeah, and a lot of women in the church
right.
don't. In Christian religion in general, it's seen, not heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, not even in the church, you're not supposed to speak. not supposed to be a preacher.
You don't have any position of power, no
Right.
matter what they tell you.
Right.
They try to trick you that
Right.
you do.
They try to
you
make you
don't.
feel like,
Yeah.
They have
what
their stories,
you lead these other women.
Right.
Herd the cattle.
Yeah. So I was speaking out,
Yeah.
and that was making my family and extended family and a lot of people I went to school with.
Oh, yeah. You were triggering them. Yeah.
And causing arguments. And I was just like in disbelief that I'm like, how,
Yeah.
like, this person
You
was
were still
murdered.
Mormon at this
I
time.
was still Mormon.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this person was literally murdered, and you're
Yeah.
arguing against that. How do you argue against that?
Yeah.
A person was murdered, you know? And Breonna Taylor, same thing, you know?
Yep.
And it just was like really disgusting to me that like here, I know that like what we said with, you know, the all lives versus, you know, Black Lives Matter
Sure.
of you're just like in your bubble.
Sure.
I understand that. I'm somebody in your bubble that's like, hey, I'm offering you a perspective, just like what George did for me.
Yeah.
And like you're calling me horrible things for that, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Yeah.
No. Like I don't
feeling
see it.
it. Yeah.
I don't see how you could do that still.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That
And so you're seeing the limits of the worldview of the religion that you came from. You're seeing the limits of the morality of the religion that you came from.
and the
It's very real.
community.
Yeah.
You know?
The limits of the community. Yeah. Compassion, the limits of compassion, the limits of just humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I mean I'm not claiming that I have it all figured out. You know what I mean?
No.
And like that
But it's not hard to take a step beyond where those communities exist.
Yeah.
They'd exist in such a such a moral and world perspective realm that is so limited.
It was established thousands of years ago.
To step
It's based
outside
on
of
things
it,
thousands of years ago.
yeah, based on Bronze Age, illiterate people that were in the desert. Like they didn't know anything about the world or anything about the future or what was
Definitely
going to
not the
come.
world we live in now.
Not the world we live in now.
Right.
And
And
and they thought that volcanoes and tornadoes and thunderstorms were judgments from God, and some still do. And it's just not hard to take a step outside of it and realize, oh, there's a million miles more of perspective and just better ways of living that you can get to. Just even a step outside of it.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I get it. It can feel like, it can feel like the religion, when you're in the religion, it can feel it can feel so big. It can feel so all encompassing. And then you step outside and you're like, oh, it's so small. It's
Truly.
it's so itty bitty. There's so much more out here. And I can see that in what you were realizing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, there's like like you said, a whole world outside of Mesa, Arizona. Who'd have thunk?
Who would have thought?
Yeah. So I'm just feeling a lot of dissonance, you know, between this world I know and that I was raised in is not fitting with me anymore. But I'm not like letting go of it yet because I'm still scared. It's mostly fear that's keeping me in.
Yes.
So we move from Baltimore to California. George graduates. We move. Oh wait, hold on. Before this, before we move, I was sitting in church. So this must have been before the pandemic hit then, because I was in church, and one of the very few times I could go. And the bishop came up to me, knowing that I struggle being there. He says, "I think you need a calling." So like to make sure that you are here. It's like to keep you coming and to like make you connect with other people in the ward. And I was like, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm still having a really hard time being here. And he said, no, you need one.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuming.
Yeah,
angry.
No,
you know?
I'm deciding for you.
I was like, how dare you?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm telling you, no, I don't say no. I grew up, you know, you don't say no.
Your whole life you've been taught
So-
to say yes and
so
be
that
agreeable.
took a lot for me to say no. And you're just like, you know, you're not respecting that at all.
Yep.
And that changed my relationship with him.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we're done. Bye. You know?
Yep.
And that was
That's
just another.
one too far, buddy.
I think that was the second to last time I ever went to church.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So then that was just like another, all right, I'm done with authority because you're claiming to know what's best for me, but I know that I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
So you don't know what's best for me.
Yep.
Okay, so then we move. September 2020, August, whatever, around there, 2020. We're still Mormon. We never go to church again, though.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the cool new Mormon phase.
Cool. Yeah.
We're-
New Mormon.
yeah.
Yes. We're
We're not-
peak New Mormons.
Yeah.
Because it's still locked down, you know? Like, you're not going to church during COVID.
Oh, okay. So this was
We went
kind
to
of
church
handed to you
once.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went to church once. It was only for like 20 minutes so that we could take the sacrament. And it was only like 12 couples or something. This was in Baltimore. That was the last time we went to church.
Yeah.
So we moved. We never transferred our records. I think they automatically get transferred though, or something. I can't remember. So we never go to church.
We transferred them.
We-
The people
okay.
out here contacted us. The church, they transferred
Oh
them.
my God,
Sure.
y'all have records that follow you everywhere
Yeah.
in the
Not
church.
anymore.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, cult.
Yeah.
Cult.
So we have these like random ass people we
Just
don't
want
know.
to drive that home today.
Yeah. Random ass people we
to
don't
have
know.
records on every member of your church is a cult. All right, just saying.
Agreed. But people we don't know showing up at our door, calling me incessantly.
Oh, trying to get you to come back into the fold.
Just to
Yeah.
check in.
Yes.
And at this point, we're, still considering ourselves Mormon, talking a lot about it. We're still trying to figure out. I think you pretty much know at this point that you're kind of like, could be
Dunzo.
done.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm good to go whenever.
I think I am, but I'm not willing
Yeah.
to admit it yet, you know? And so then,
Yeah, and just to wrap this up, because I think we're coming to the end of your deconstruction journey here. Or oh no,
I still got a little bit more.
still got a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, yeah.
No,
I'm
go
a
ahead.
little
Go ahead.
long-winded.
By
but,
all means.
I remember we watched this show in like October or something that year. It's called Cursed, if anybody's seen it on Netflix. But there's this really creepy depiction of religion. Like the main bad guys are like the religious dudes, you know?
Yeah.
And we had this conversation driving home one day, and like we were talking about, I was like, it kind of like makes me uncomfortable. Like religion stuff kind of makes me feel icky. And he was like, me too. And I was like, relieved, that I felt the same way. And we were like, yeah, like, why does religion make me so uncomfortable? And then that kind of got the ball rolling, I'd say. So after that, I was like, okay, religion makes me uncomfortable. I am not lining up morally, with any of this stuff. I'm still wearing my garments though.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know that I'm ready to take them off because again, I'm scared.
Yeah.
Fear is motivating me to keep them on.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe to like stomp out this fear, I need to understand where they came from. Like, what is the purpose of them really? Because I've just been told, oh, they're for your protection and they're a reminder of your covenants.
Yeah.
But like, why were they started? Like, I don't get it. So I want to understand more. And that was the end for me, really. I just like dove into, so I started researching garments. I started on like church approved material.
Yeah.
So their website, the scriptures, gospel topic essays, which are church
Well,
approved.
what'd you find?
Well, it led me to Joseph Smith,
Okay.
which led me into church history,
Yep.
which led me to
You
letter.
mean outside of the church history, like not non-Mormon approved church history?
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, it all started.
You listened to that polygamy podcast when we were still in Baltimore, didn't you?
No.
No?
I started that in LA.
Those out here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, podcasts about polygamy, which talked about Joseph Smith's wives. One being Fanny Alger. I might be saying it wrong. 14 years old.
Yep.
And so it all started on church approved topic or source material. I mean, but then, I was like, oh, light bulb, anti-church material just means anything that was not written by the church.
Yep.
Duh,
Yep.
And so then I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing outside research.
Okay. Yeah.
Led me to, so many things about Joseph Smith. Letter
Yeah.
to My Wife, which
Yeah.
is a man who was, researching church history, not because he was trying to find something wrong with it. It's because he was studying. He was studying church history.
Yeah.
Found a bunch of inaccuracies and things that were shady. Compiled it in a letter to his wife to tell her why he was wanting to leave, and then he published it. So it's very insightful, very thorough.
Yeah.
I listened to that because there's a recording of it in a few days. I would say I deep dove. Like I was researching nonstop. I had
You
never
went
been
full ADHD hyperfocus.
absolutely
Yeah,
didn't know
love
it was ADHD at the time,
Yeah.
I had never studied my scriptures harder.
Yeah.
I was quoting scriptures. I'd never been
I
able to
know.
do that.
Yep.
I did that for about a month. Listened to Letter to My Wife in a few days, like over the course of a weekend. And then I finished it and George says, so what do you think? And I said, it's fake.
Yeah.
It's all fake.
Yeah.
And I took my garments off that day and I never looked back.
Hey,
Yeah.
did you think maybe the Christian religion outside of Mormonism might have been real still?
I considered myself a non-denominational Christian
From there?
a little bit
Okay.
after that.
Okay.
Not
Still
long.
praying to Jesus,
No.
maybe? No? Oh,
No,
okay. Jesus
I'm not
was
praying.
done.
I'm not doing anything, but I don't know that there isn't a God at this point,
Okay, gotcha.
or that Jesus isn't,
yeah.
whatever we thought he was. So for a little, I considered myself that,
Yeah.
and then very quickly I was like, no, Christianity ain't it.
Yeah.
Still don't know if there's a God or not, but definitely
Right.
not Christian.
Right.
Then I learned about evolution,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
said,
that'll do it.
oh, okay.
That'll put the nail in the coffin.
Yep. I'm like, we're just here by a lot of random things happening
Yep.
and not by, God,
Yep.
which is an even bigger miracle, honestly. And yeah, I now consider myself an atheist.
Yeah. Hey.
Here we are.
Hell yeah.
So Joseph Smith was the nail in the coffin.
You done fucked up,
Yeah.
buddy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That was all horrible, awful.
I think I even
Well-
for a moment played like devil's advocate for Joseph Smith.
Oh no.
Oh, that pissed me off.
Oh yeah.
I was
bet
like,
it
don't.
did.
It was through this whole thing. I was like, I didn't like.
Well, this is a different time, babe.
No, I don't even
It's
know.
just-
I wasn't. No, not the
just-
polygamy
I'm putting
piece of it.
I'm putting
But
words in your mouth.
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I do remember
Yeah.
because I was still in the space of like, I want Halie to decide this for her.
Right,
Yeah.
Right, to come to
Yeah.
this. Like,
You
I don't.
were never the one to bring things up.
Sure.
Which I appreciate a lot, was like we were both going through it and you would discuss things with me, but it was never pushing me to
No,
any
so I didn't-
decision. And I think I was the one that was like, I think I just want to say it, like that I don't want to, like, I'm not Mormon anymore. Like,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'm done, you
Yeah.
know? And you were kind of like, okay, yeah, let's be done, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was
Let's
a
go
long
sin.
and
Drink coffee.
painful. Yeah.
That took us a couple months. But yeah.
No, it didn't.
It was like March.
No.
It was March.
January.
It was not January. We have the Polaroid. We'll have to go find it.
Okay, we gotta find it.
Oh,
took us
y'all took a picture
2
of it. I
months.
love
We
that y'all
did, of
took
our
a
first
picture of
coffee.
our first coffee.
I'm
Jesus.
like 90% sure it took us 2 months to try coffee.
Oh,
I think it was
God.
the end of January.
I don't
I think it was
so.
only a week.
I
Yeah,
don't think so.
yeah.
I think it was 2 months.
Anyway, we'll find the Polaroid.
We'll
at
find
one
the
point.
Polaroid.
Oh yeah. I love that.
But-
I love that.
Yeah,
here
it
we
was a very painful,
Yeah, it is.
Journey.
It's a painful journey.
a lot of just felt betrayed,
by religion.
by religion and
Yeah.
by, I don't know. I'm like, I don't really blame my parents because I think they're in the same machine, you know?
They do what they think is right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, my
But-
parents were doing what they thought was right.
Yeah. I think religion is insidious.
Mm-hmm.
It's harmful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that it's good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Drop that mic.
Not this mic though.
Not this mic.
Not
please.
this mic.
That's a good mic. Let's not drop it.
Yeah. Anyway.
George dropped it last week.
I did. I did.
It's cool.
He's right.
It's fine. It's
He's right.
fine. It is fine. Awesome. And now you're an atheist, which means that you really, you're not, like you said, not into any religion. Do
I
you
don't
consider
believe
yourself
there's a God.
spiritual?
I don't know.
Yeah. You're maybe
I'm
still figuring it out.
figuring that out.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time with the word spiritual, I think, just
Yeah.
because it is still so tied to religion in my mind. And like,
Yeah, it's a loaded word.
it's
It can
hard.
be a loaded word.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what I feel about like energy and like the universe.
Yeah.
I do think that there is, I don't know. I think energy is a thing.
I don't know is okay to say.
Yeah.
That's okay to say here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
May not be in religion, but it is here.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't think I can know. I don't think anybody can know. So
Yeah, there's a lot that we just can't know. I mean, to make an unfalsifiable claim like religion does, it cannot be falsified. Meaning that there's no way to test it to prove it false because you can't test it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say it's true. Believe us. And you can't test whether it's or not is true. You're not going to sell me on that. I'm sorry. And no, I can't know for sure that there's not a unicorn circling the universe in a teacup that is God or whatever, the spaghetti monster God, or that we're in a simulation. We don't know. We're not going to be able to know.
Y'all, I would not be surprised if we're in a simulation though.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that one. I like that one a little bit.
I know, that one's a fun one to me.
It's a fun one.
Yeah.
I like the multiverse one. It's fun. That one's become a little popular lately, but
Yeah, that's
it's a little too
Disney-fied.
mainstream now.
Yeah.
L.
Marvel.
Yeah. So then, how do you view the world now? You want to give us a quick that on the way out? Give us a good positive note on the way out. What's keeping you alive these days?
Well, I think that I have a nihilistic perspective, but in a positive spin. If that, I'm like, nothing matters. There's not really a purpose to anything, but that means that I'm allowed to have a slow and cute life just full of
You can
wonder.
live your granny
and
life.
I can. Like, who the fuck cares?
I love your granny life.
Yeah, I can sit here and crochet and I can go on walks and take pictures of butterflies because I think they're cute, and I don't have to be like,
Isn't that great though?
yeah, like I don't have to be killing myself.
Yes.
And full of shame.
Yes, all the time.
know?
Yeah, all this whole self degradation, and I've talked about this multiple times.
Yeah.
How gross I hated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I can just do what I want.
I think my
because
thing,
nothing matters.
I think my thing is that I've really loved being able to connect with, that kid version of me that was free in that didn't have to think about or didn't feel all of this created pressure that religion tries to put on you for
and like
for whatever. And then obviously I don't agree with any of it, but at the same time, this self-degradation of
and like my version of success, my vision of success, I should say, is vastly different.
Yeah.
And it's very freeing.
Yeah.
My version of success now.
What's your version of success now? Give us a good goal to reach for.
I mean,
No
think
pressure.
just
Not pressure. I didn't mean that in a pressure way.
No, you're good. I think, and I still struggle with this. Like, I still dip into the old.
Yeah, don't we all?
I mean, it's rooted in there. It's not that easy to just.
They put the claws in there. It gets the claws in there. Yeah.
But I think we're married. We have a dog. We don't have kids. We live in an apartment in California. I don't really have like a career, I just have like a side gig and I'm making music for fun. And I think a lot of people would look at me and be like, wow, loser, like she didn't accomplish much, after, but it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm happy with my life. I love my life. We have great friends.
Yep.
We live in a beautiful place.
Yep.
And I just get to fill my apartment with like cute little things that I like.
Yeah.
And like, that's superficial, but who cares?
Yeah. You get to enjoy your life.
Yeah, and I can walk.
Do you know
like,
how
I just love going
envious
on
that
walks.
is for so many people?
Yeah.
Just to be able to enjoy your life the way you want to.
Yeah, and I like work
Yeah.
part time, and you know what I mean. Like,
Yep.
I'm just living,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's really cute to just live
That's
without
hot.
like that
is hot.
so
That's hot.
fucking hot.
I love it.
It's fucking hot. Yeah.
Well, that's
so-
amazing, Halie. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much for sharing so much of your journey. I know we did that. This was a long-winded one. We may split it into 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But it was amazing to hear your perspective. Thank you so much for
Thank
talking with
you.
us. George, you want to take us out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Haley. Come back soon.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Don't be a
I'll be back.
stranger.
Oh,
I got
Haley
a
will be
lot
back.
more to
Yeah.
say.
Oh, I know
y'all.
you
Yeah,
do.
no,
I know
we
you
gotta
do.
get
And we didn't have
into
to
it.
get it all out today.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a
no,
lot
no.
we can
We got a
talk
lot to
about
say.
for sure.
But
Yeah.
until
Haley
next
will be
time,
back. Yeah.
this has been
I lost my faith, and all I got was this podcast.
That's right. See y'all next time.
Bye.